Good morning. Welcome to the 2019 Eugene Lang graduation. First, let me welcome all the family and friends who are here. You have traveled maybe an hour or two, maybe 20, to be here today to honor and celebrate today's graduates. Over the last few years, you have loved, called, texted, sent money, paid bills, listened sympathetically, and given advice when it was sought and sometimes when it wasn't. You have made today possible. Welcome. Welcome to the faculty, advisors, and administrative staff of Eugene Lang. You have mentored, taught, inspired, urged, given tough feedback, spoken honestly, and shared your intellect and passion. You have made today possible. Welcome. And most importantly, welcome and congratulations to the class of 2019. You have, with the help of everyone here and many others, earned a college degree. You have studied long hours, rehearsed, written papers, debated in class, read books and articles, participated in community projects, attended events, held jobs, been persuaded to think differently, helped others to think differently, joined groups of all kinds, and ultimately, we hope, gained a fuller sense of the world and who you are, what you can do, and what you want to do. Finishing college is often a time of writing resumes or CVs. Curriculum vitae is Latin for life's course of study. Today, you add a line to your curriculum vitae, a degree from the new school. Institutions also have a life's course of study, a curriculum vitae, perhaps best known not only by the course titles, though that list is very interesting at Lang, but by those who have taught and studied at the institution. The new school is 100 years old this year, and the list of those who have been part of our community, who have taught and studied here, is diverse and inspiring. John Cage, Robert Frost, Eric Fromm, Martha Graham, W.E.B. Du Bois, Alfred Kazin, Hannah Arendt, Margaret Mead, Eileen Miles, Sekou Sundiata, and Bell Hooks, to name only a few. And what they all shared was the certainty that learning depends upon, draws upon, cannot happen without or outside of human relations. We learn with others. This understanding is core at Eugene Lang College. Learning through human relations happens in seminar discussions and also in silent conversation with the text while reading. It happens in the dance studio and in the professor's office, and in late-night conversations with others and with yourself. Cage's experimental music classes and W.E.B. Du Bois's classes on race, Martha Graham's dance classes and Sekou Sundiata's classes in poetry and justice are all part of our institutional CV. In these people and in you, today's graduates, we see a commitment to learning that is radically open and restless, always curious, always courageous. Every one of you is part of Lang's and the New School's curriculum vitae. Your courage and your social justice activism that often demands more from us, shapes who we are. Thank you. It might be interesting to know that the graduates today come from 33 different states and 20 different countries. I also want to bring a couple of alumni stories to you. One alumnus wrote recently about his legal practice. He told me, Lang prepared me to see different sides of an argument and made me feel that I can make a difference in my clients' lives, most of whom are indigent. Another described the unusual turn his life took at Lang. I chose Lang because no math was required. But I ended up taking math and science, and now I am a software engineer. But at Lang, I was a creative writing major. I left Lang with the confidence that I can teach myself anything. One alumnus wanted to emphasize that life after Lang is just like life during college, never straightforward. And to those who warn that a passion for justice isn't practical, she says, not true. Social justice has guided her every decision. She majored in politics, she did a year in AmeriCorps, then worked with congressional representatives in DC. 2 years ago, she completed a PhD in public health and accepted an appointment at Boston Children's Hospital, where she works on health disparities. Today, 2 alumni will join me when we present the diplomas. Racquel Samuel is a 2014 graduate. She advises students in the Higher Education Opportunity Program at the New School, and she is pursuing an MSW at Fordham. Grace Lang is a 2013 BAFA graduate. She serves on Lang's Board of Governors, and she is a freelance artist focused on stories of female strength. Creativity, social justice, community engagement, writing well, thinking critically, that is a Lang curriculum vitae. That is your curriculum. It is an honor, a deep honor, to be a part of this community, and it is a pleasure to congratulate the class of 2019 on this day of celebration. I now invite Jennifer Wilson, Associate Dean of Faculty Affairs and Associate Professor of Mathematics, to announce our departmental honors.
We would now like to recognize students for outstanding academic work in their programs as nominated by the faculty. As I call your name, please stand and remain standing until all award recipients are called. Please hold your applause until all names are called, if you can. For outstanding work in the arts, Mirabelle Allen and India Timpani. For outstanding work in contemporary dance, Emily Ruiz. For outstanding work in contemporary music, Sim Comfortes and Jack Sasner. For outstanding work in theater, Ari Grossman, Daniel Gutierrez, and Isabel Milch. For outstanding work in visual studies, Lydia Tomasi. For outstanding work in arts and context, Sofia Garcia and Eleanor Quiring. For outstanding work in culture and media, Benjamin Tatera and Andrew Shorabai. For outstanding work in economics, Lucius DiCarlo. For outstanding work in environmental studies, Kirsten DiCaprio and Anna Remus. For outstanding work in global studies, Isoka Nisagi, Hadi Simon, and Catherine Nixdorf. For outstanding work in history, Ali Hanna and Miriam Powell. For outstanding work in interdisciplinary science, Geena Sompanya and Anna Remus. For outstanding work in journalism and design, Adrian Eng, Trudy Hall, Talia Moore, and Mecca Widers-Russell. For outstanding work in literary studies, in literature, Kali O'Rourke, and in writing, Lindsay Hoover, Prince Lang, and LaTroya Lavelle. For outstanding work in philosophy, Paige Cook and John Folensby. For outstanding work in politics, Michelle Mason and Alex Jürgensen. For outstanding work in psychology, Natalie Del Rosier, Harriet Garrett, and Olivia Resto. For outstanding work in religious studies, Madeline Sinnock. For outstanding work in screen studies, Mackenzie Leedy, Jessica Mastro, and Lauren Mendoza. And for outstanding work in urban studies, Reem Abba Samra, Daniel Chu, and Racquel Clark. Let's give them all one more round of applause. I would now like to welcome Natalie Gross and Natasha Rivera from the Office of Civic Engagement and Social Justice, who will present the David S. Woods Humanitarian Award.
Good afternoon. The David S. Woods Humanitarian Award recognizes graduating seniors for exceptional humanitarian service to the community. The honoree must have an outstanding academic and service record, showing evidence of having extended themselves in unusual degrees to help others. This award was established in honor of David S. Woods, a New York City youth who died coming to the service of another. I would now like to ask this year's awardees, Yamiles Bonilla, Michelle Mason, and Talia Moore, to please join us.
Yamiles Bonilla is a global studies major with a minor in theater and sociology. One of her favorite classes was a theater for social action, mass incarceration, and one thing she is most proud of from her time at Lang would be the opportunity for involvement with organizations like Exalt and I Have a Dream Foundation, creating empowering spaces and nurturing the curiosity and creativity of young children of color like herself.
Michelle Mason has studied politics and focused in legal studies throughout her time at Lang. She was accepted to the Lang Social Science Fellowship, where she interned at a nonprofit which provides legal services for survivors of gender-based violence. This fellowship inspired her to research into incarcerated survivors of domestic violence, a population in which she continues to work with and advocate for.
Talia Moore is graduating with a Bachelor of Arts in Journalism and Design with a minor in Ethnicity and Race. Born and raised in San Francisco, Talia has cultivated a love for storytelling in New York City and is dedicated to building, preserving, and uplifting the stories within her communities through art and activism. Her commitment to community organizing is centered around the experiences of Black and Jewish students as well as students of color at the New School. It is our pleasure to present the 2019 David S. Woods Awards to Yamiles Bonilla, Michelle Mason, and Talia Moore. Talia? There you go. Got a little out of work. Thank you.
I am now pleased to introduce Racquel Samuel, who will present the Dean's Alumni Circle Award. Racquel Samuel is a Student Success Advisor in the Higher Education Opportunity Program, or HEOP. She is the leader of the New School First Committee. She graduated from Lang in 2014 in Education Studies and is getting her master's in social work from Fordham University. Welcome, Racquel.
Good morning, everyone. Class of 2019, it is my honor to celebrate with you and to present this award. But first, let me say, congratulations, you did it. Yeah. I also want to just take a moment and give a shout out to the Black Student Union and La Gente for the amazing ceremonies celebrating grads of color on Tuesday. Yes. Make sure when you leave here, you take up all of the space, all right? Cool. Over 5,800 alumni have graduated from Lang since the college's founding 34 years ago. Today, as you join our ranks, you grow our alumni community exponentially. As alumni, you will remain an important part of the Lang family. Lang uniquely honors all of us as serious learners, thinkers, doers, and change agents. And together, we have the power to continue to shape this dynamic college. I encourage you to embrace and support this community, to stay connected to Lang and to each other. The Dean's Alumni Circle Award recognizes a student who has been a leader and advocate for Eugene Lang College, who has demonstrated a community-minded spirit, and who will stay connected to Lang and the alumni community. This year, my fellow alumni and I were invited to vote for this important award. The class of 2019 abounds with many deserving individuals, but all of those considered, one stood out. I would now like to invite the recipient of the 2019 Dean's Alumni Circle Award, Geena Sompanya, to please join me. Geena Sompanya is a psychology major with an interdisciplinary science minor. Her favorite class was microbiomes of urban spaces. One thing she is most proud of from her time at Lang is her personal and academic growth. I am pleased to present this award, this year's Dean's Alumni Circle Award, to Geena Sompanya. I will now invite Jennifer Wilson, Associate Dean for Faculty Affairs, Associate Professor for Mathematics, back to give the Faculty and Staff Advisor Excellence Awards. There you go. Technical difficulty.
So the first award will be the Faculty Advisor Excellence Award. This award is presented annually to recognize exceptional service, guidance, and mentorship by a faculty advisor at Eugene Lang College. The recipient is selected based on their strong interpersonal skills and mentorship, their academic guidance attuned to both individual needs and intellectual coherence, and their effective facilitation of student decision-making and empowerment, all promoting a positive collegiate experience for advisees. This year's recipient of the Faculty Advisor Excellence Award is Jürgen von Mahs. Jürgen is the chair for the Urban Studies program. In nominating Professor von Mahs for this award, students specifically referenced his dedication, approachability, and accessibility as a faculty advisor. As one advisee wrote, Jürgen takes time with his students, gets to know them personally, and understands them, and helps them like none other. His support, from first year to thesis advisor, has proved invaluable to me and many other students whose lives he's touched. Even when he isn't someone's advisor, his advice and guidance is sought and grounded in experience. He is honest with his students, regarding himself personally, as well as guiding students through the hardships and decisions necessary to complete school and to do so successfully. For his efforts as a faculty advisor, a teacher, and a source of support and encouragement to Lang students, we are honored to recognize Jürgen von Mahs with this award. We are also honoring the exceptional service, guidance, and mentorship of a member of our professional advising staff. The recipient was selected from the nominations of the senior class and has been a resource for students and faculty alike. This year's recipient of the Advisor Excellence Award is Christina McElderry. In nominating Christina, students specifically talked about her knowledge of the institution and willingness to help students. Students specifically said, Christina is committed and dedicated to students and their success, both academically and professionally. She shows an unparalleled enthusiasm when troubleshooting any issues students encounter or when aiming to direct students toward their desired success. Christina, as an advisor, as a colleague, and as a member of the New School community, reflects our values as an innovative, involved, and unique academic institution. Another said of her, incredibly dedicated, deeply involved with each of her advisees, proactive in finding supportive approaches, considering individual experiences and needs and connecting them to resources, faculty, and peers to create supportive and safe environments, and also to propose structural changes that can help us all participate in creating an environment where everyone feels respected, listened to, and part of a community. For all of her efforts as an advisor and a source of support and encouragement to Lang students, we are honored to recognize Christina McElderry with this award. How are you? And now it is my great pleasure to introduce this year's student speaker, Sarah Murphy. Sarah Murphy is a double major in interdisciplinary science and contemporary music. Her favorite classes through her time at Lang have included Song Factory, Genes, Environment, and Behavior, as well as anything her math professor has taught. I'm reading this. She is most proud of her development and accomplishments in the science department, including the Mohn Family Fellowship, as well as her growth and success in the music program. Please join me in welcoming Sarah to the stage to deliver Lang's 2019 Student Commencement Address.
Hello, and welcome to the families, friends, and students of the Eugene Lang class of 2019. I hope you've already completed your course evaluations because we all know they are not getting done after today. After today, we will have completed an average of 32 course evaluations, registered for class 8 times, gotten into the classes we wanted probably half of those times, met our favorite professors, peers, and shaped our focus. In the last 4 years, much has changed. We moved here as perhaps rough outlines of ourselves, or unchiseled building blocks of identities, and over 4 years have learned what unique color combinations we are made up of, what our identities mean to us, and carved our own initials into each layer of ourselves. No longer are we factual evolutionary drafts of our histories, but proud distinguished offspring of numerous individuals, many of which are here today not only celebrate, but be celebrated for their love, support, and generosity that has carried us to this point. Today, we have officially made it through all the overwhelming days, exhausting long nights, confusing confrontations, and seemingly endless challenges and made it to graduation. We have been confronted with navigating a divisive political shift that has brought many forms of identity to the forefront of our thoughts, forcing us to reevaluate our roles as advocates, activists, and allies, propelling us to navigate how to catalyze change and manifest support and safe communities for each other. Lang has allowed us 4 years to explore what identity means to us, whether it be exploring the spectrum of queerness, blackness, femininity, political or religious identity, masculinity, or the intersectionality of what they all mean. Lang has allowed us to not only navigate these within ourselves, but within the social and academic community. I have seen my peers develop into unapologetic, relentless, spectacular, colorful adaptations of the perhaps two-dimensional variations that came here. We have gotten to this point, to this day, to celebrate ourselves and our accomplishments, but we did not do this alone. The professors at Lang not only offer their time and expertise, but they provide support that exceeds expectations. While it takes a certain amount of independence and self-awareness to move to New York City at 17 or 18, there is no lack of need for advice, assistance, and care. As a young woman studying science with a majority of non-male peers being taught by a majority of women in a department run by a woman of color, Lang offered me this incredibly unique experience. My professors, while being academic leaders, have grown to be much more. The entire science department has bought tickets to almost every one of my band's shows over the last 2 years, above and beyond office hours. It is in fact easier to get my professors to buy tickets and support my music career than some of my friends. My professors have acted as mentors, advisors, generous supporters, thoughtful listeners, and guides, while simultaneously navigating and dominating a predominantly male field, proving to their students that there is a huge benefit to having women not only in STEM, but in all fields of study. This experience is in no way unique to me. The professors in the poetry department have helped their students by planning open mics to provide extra opportunities to explore their field. Professors in journalism and design provided their students with platforms to explore aspects of their identity, whether it be navigating the politicization of one's native language or the significance of food within cultural identity and healing. Professors in the visual studies major encourage their students to create their best work and do it for themselves. As an interdisciplinary science major and a student of Professor Chamini, I have memorized the exact steps in the cycle of cell regeneration, encompassing the way the body grows, the brain grows, and the way we heal. To see this kind of human growth, as well as human healing, is quite miraculous in and of itself. We have all seen younger relatives or friends get taller, seen cuts grow into scars, bruises fade, seen hair get longer, then maybe shorter, just to grow back again. We don't feel this growth directly, but if we look away for long enough, we notice it when we are reminded of where we once were. This physical understanding of growth and change can be quite obvious. I, for one, came here with long brown hair and leave here having tried enough hair colors to fill a box of crayons. As I'm sure some of you can relate, I can map out my college career by the color and cut of my hair. This kind of reflection is more entertaining than it is meaningful. I also came here afraid of public speaking and convinced that I was bad at math and science. I now leave here knowing I am fully capable of presenting myself eloquently, both as a speaker and as a scientist and mathematician. Thank you. Growth in this context stems from something bigger. Growth originating from the reckoning and internal exploration of one's own self that they perhaps came to this school with, to this class with, and through 4 years of attempts and successes, now radiate these distinctive, beautiful characteristics. It is this evolution that is most crucial, and the easiest to lose sight of. When we stop thinking about where we first started, we can forget why it is so impressive that we have made it to where we are now. When we forget where we were, we forget how we have changed. When we forget to look back, we forget what we were and what we are capable of. To those who came here as hobbyists and leave here as mentors, to those who came here feeling hidden and leave here feeling fully immersed in the bright light that is internalized validation and love, to those who came here as nervous supporters and leave here proud, outspoken advocates and rebel-rousers that make us feel hope for the future, to those who came here searching for outlets and mediums to express themselves and leave here as writers or photographers who create platforms for their communities, or those that organize, execute, and push this school to be held accountable to future students, and for those that needed to explore a huge city to feel small and understand how they fit in. We have all grown, both physically and within ourselves over these 4 years. Today is about celebrating not only where we have ended this journey, but about remembering, appreciating, and honoring the version of us that may have come here unsure, unaware, and unprepared for what was coming. Today is about who helped you along the way. From writing the Essay 1 to writing thesis, we have taken the classes, checked degree works, tried to use most of our printing credits, and occasionally done our evaluations. And we are now sitting here, and we've all grown in ways that we have learned matter to us. I am honored to have seen this growth, and as we grow even more, don't forget the few cells of your younger version that is here today. Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah. Thank you so much. It is my pleasure to invite to the stage Jack Sasner. Jack is a double major in contemporary music and journalism and design. His favorite class was musical blueprints, taught by Virginia Dellenbach. He is proud of his work in data visualization on subjects including the opioid crisis facing New England. He is joined by Maddie Ballantona, also a Lang graduate, and Ben Norman. I look forward to your music.
I break every time you say my name, and you shout it from rooftops all the same. And I climb up your vertebrae like stairs, fumble in my pocket for a key, open the door to anywhere, close it tightly behind me. Let's say we're dead before closing time. Yes, sir, this idea is real, it's just not mine. And you're full of whiskey and chemicals you don't quite know the names of. All these clouds inside my skull telling me that it's, and I climb up your vertebrae like stairs, fumble in my pocket for a key, open the door to anywhere, close it tightly behind, and I pray every time you say my name,
someplace I could consider home.
you shout
When I look at
all the same.
big tall glass of acetone.
Thank you, Jack, Maddie, and Ben. It's my pleasure to introduce Professor Zishan Ugurlu, this year's faculty speaker. Zishan is a native of Istanbul, and she has been working in New York and abroad as a theater artist since 1995. She is a resident actress and director at La Mama Theater, and a member of the Great Jones Repertory Company. She has performed in numerous productions with the company, including Panorama, directed by Italian company Motus as part of the Under the Radar Festival of 2018. She is featured in films, The Letter, for example, which was part of the Cannes Film Festival, and a short film, Dog Race, which received awards at the International Film Festival, including the Martin Scorsese Award. Zishan has directed productions of all kinds, and she is currently working on 2 projects. Music Room by John Runowich, about the prison system in America and working with formerly incarcerated individuals, and also Fragments, Lists, and Lacunae, written by Alexandra Chasin and featuring Judith Butler. Zishan was recently awarded Best Direction for Yu Ling Wu's solo performance, Dream American, while Wu was awarded Best Comedian by the United Solo Festival. Zishan holds an honored membership at United Solo Academy and is the founding artistic director of Actors Without Borders. Please join me in welcoming our faculty speaker for 2019, Zishan.
Good morning. I am deeply honored to be part of this graduation ceremony. I also have to admit I am extremely nervous. Some of you may know and most of you may not, but I am an actor and director. I teach acting and directing. For the past few days, the actor in me and the director in me have been at odds during the rehearsal of this speech. They have been in constant dialogue, sometimes pleasant and sometimes much less gracious. The theater of the self was hyperactive. But after a lot of reflection, I decided to be neither a director nor an actor, but a vulnerable human being who's very humble to be speaking here today. Let us celebrate and embrace the moment, because celebration brings joy. Celebration helps us to stay in the present where our power is. Celebration brings wonder. English is such a rich language, and yet it does not have the word that encapsulates what I am feeling right now. The word that I need is mudita. It's a Sanskrit word that captures the experience of bliss after hearing about someone else's good fortunes, their accomplishments, their happiness. Selfless joy. This is what I am feeling. And your incredible achievement is what I'm celebrating. You are graduating from an institution of exceptional historical significance and on its centennial. I know that sometimes the new school loses its way. From time to time, certain choices show that our university has misplaced its hallmark vision. But you have inhabited the same spaces once graced by the likes of Lorraine Hansberry, Irving Piscator, Martha Graham, Marlon Brando, Harry Belafonte, Jamaica Kincaid, Tennessee Williams, Clifford Odette, Hannah Arendt, John Cage, James Baldwin, and so many others. And while they have all long passed through, we will always be able to channel their indelible legacies and reorient ourselves towards accountability and social justice. Though this is a remarkable milestone, I suspect that many of you are feeling overwhelmed by the uncertainties of the future. You are thinking about the next big step. You are thinking about the real life. I should tell you, you have been in real life all this time. You have been thriving and struggling, learning and unlearning. You have been staying up all night to work and staying up all night to party. Yes. You have been analyzing, interpreting, and evaluating. You have been preparing yourself for real life. You haven't been. You have been living it. So this was not a dress rehearsal. This was the performance. This is the performance. It is, of course, understandable that you might be fearful and anxious. No one ever knows what is going to happen next. But I invite you to shift your perception and think of it almost as a vast space of ample possibilities. You are much more equipped than you might believe. Lang's curriculum has armed you with the tools and skills necessary to navigate and negotiate life's uncertainties and challenges. I don't know what you will do or where you will go, but I have faith. Whatever path you choose, you will move with the conviction that your destination is not a place, but a new way of seeing things. I know that as you continue on, familiar ideas will be turned inside out and upside down. Exciting new ideas will emerge, and your curiosity will expand. I also know that through all of this, there will be formidable challenges. At times, you will feel like the weight of the world is on your shoulders, like you are being backed into the corner with no way to move forward, like the overwhelming amount of ignorance in the world will betray your sense of hope. I am profoundly aware how disjointed time seems to be. The climate is changing, and with each new ecological disaster, we are reminded of how our planet is in pain. We are bearing witnesses to the re-emergence of hyper-nationalism, authoritarianism, and religious fundamentalism. Outrageous social inequities, disheartening migration crisis, and rampant political corruption seems to be constitution of the air that we breathe on a daily basis. As Marvin Gaye sings in his foretelling song, "Mercy, mercy me. Poison is the wind that blows from the north and south and east." It is easy to feel defeated, desperate, and dejected by the weight of all these circumstances. Everywhere we look, there seems to be tremendous suffering, and everywhere we go, senseless destruction. But, as James Baldwin said, not everything that is faced can be changed, but nothing can be changed until it's faced. In some of our most pivotal historical moments, hope has been the force that has moved us forward even when the world around us seems to be going backwards. Martin Luther King Jr. said, "We must accept finite disappointment, but never lose infinite hope." Our current condition seems impenetrable, but it is our responsibility to ourselves and to one another to maintain hope, so that we may tap into untold histories as models for resilience and deploy the skills that will enable us to redefine our circumstances and work towards social justice through conscientious action. Wow. I was very nervous that I wouldn't be able to pronounce conscientious correctly, but I did twice. Our vision for the world will not come into fruition unless we make it so. In times of great despair, we must reflect on humanity's capacity for community, cooperation, and compassion. Obviously, this is not an easy task. Humans are wired to be self-centered. We like to pay attention to what's happening inside of us rather than observing what is happening around us. But the real human experience begins with the practice of humility, the practice of expanding the center so that it may hold space for those around you. Ellen Stewart, the founder of La Mama Theater, knew this all too well. As an African-American woman moving through the mid-20th century, the challenges she faced were unimaginable. Even still, she persisted. She knew to dance with life and taught me to do the same. She held space for the people around her. And every day, I feel blessed to have been one of them. Ellen taught me to believe in my own power and to move with purpose. I carry these lessons with me both on stage and off. I remember them when I tell my own story, and even though I have told it so many times very recently as an actor in Panorama, the resonance of Ellen's impact never ceases to feel brand new. I immigrated to this country in the mid-1990s. I was fortunate enough to be taken in by Ellen, who got my green card and gave me a room at the very top of La Mama Theater, where I still live. I am the theater cat. She cultivated a space where I and so many others could grow both as artists and as people. Even in spite of her endless generosity, I was fearful. Life was defined by struggle. I was in my early 30s, and I didn't have any English to tell people that I miss my home, I miss my language, and I miss my family. I miss my comfort. As an immigrant, I found myself occupying a place that felt neither here nor there. Even today, I still struggle with the language. My English can cause misunderstandings, which render more struggle. My thoughts might be precise, but my English could suggest otherwise. People forget that speaking with an accent is not the same as thinking with one. These were the conditions that I was encountering, and though the desperation could feel debilitating, I kept trying to remind myself that actors should use their conditions as momentum. Sometimes those reminders weren't enough. I would reach my threshold and collapse under the weight of despair and discouragement. But while I lay among what was left, I realized something. I still had everything I needed to rebuild. The faith that I had in myself was still intact. And I went forward knowing that my potential would always come from within me. No surrounding conditions, no matter its magnitude, could ever bury me deeper than the self-defeating impulses of my own mind. This showed me that when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. And I started to embrace struggle and failure as fundamental cornerstones of a purposeful life. Theater was my passion, my entire reason for immigrating to New York, and I was ready to cherish any number of failures that would bring me closer to fulfilling it. Those of you who know me well know exactly what I mean when I say fail, fail again, and fail better. It is an indispensable philosophy, one that placed me firmly in the present and reassured me that there is always hope in the darkness. As you move forward, I urge you not to worry. It sounds cliché, but some clichés are a part of our collective wisdom. Follow your passions and find solace in your failures, because you will always have your own creativity. There will always be someone expanding the circle and cultivating that unselfish joy, mudita. The circle that Ellen provided helped me foster my creativity, and I came to understand its expression as one of the most profound forms of healing. I also believe that there can be no claim to creativity. It is a state of mind, a particular attitude, a certain way of being in the world that anyone can bring to any task. With creativity, you can negotiate, you can navigate, you can learn to embrace the unknown and relinquish a binary way of thinking. There is no mystical aura or elusive divinity to creativity. It is a defining trait of humanity. It is about seeing possibilities and trying to materialize what would otherwise be trapped in the imagination. It is about trusting your intuition, acting on your curiosity, keeping a childlike sense of wonder, and letting the chaos of the world be your motivation, not your obstacle. So, leading up to right now, my experiences have led me to talk about a few different things: celebration, mudita, hope, struggle, and creativity. I also know that you have your own experiences that have informed your outlooks and convictions. You have your own wisdom. But regardless to our differences, we should always consider the most important condition of all: love. I like to think that the force of love has brought us here together, and that the force of love will move us forward. In Turkish, my mother language, there are two different words for love: aşk and sevgi. Aşk describes what we feel with romantic partners, a love of ferocity and passion. Sevgi is love of quiet and serene affection, like what you might feel towards your family. I can only hope that you will create a life for yourself that is touched by both. Of course, there is love to be found even beyond the partner and beyond the family. The world is so vast, and all of the love within could not possibly be captured by the two words, no matter the language. Even so, cultivating love is always worth the struggle, and practicing gratitude is always worth the strain. So as you move forward, pay attention to what you are paying attention to. Tend to the needs of your surroundings. Love and be loved. This is how you will know that you're existing with consequence and registering the consequences of others' existence. The last word that I would like to introduce is avumbuk. It means the feeling of heaviness and sorrow you feel after your guests have departed. It comes from the indigenous Baining people of Papua New Guinea, who are so familiar with this experience that they gave it a name. They believe that departing visitors shed a kind of heaviness when they leave, so as to travel lightly. Once the visitors leave, the Baining people fill a bowl with the water and leave it overnight to absorb. After the third day, the family rises very early and flings the water into the trees, whereupon ordinary life resumes. I placed a bowl of water in the corner of the Lang Cafe on the last day of class. Tomorrow morning, after the third night, I will sprinkle the water onto the beautiful tulips in front of the Lang building, in hopes that you will travel lightly into your future. Thank you.
Thank you, Zishan. We will now present the candidates for degree of Bachelor of Arts and Bachelor of Science. The names will be read by Marjorie Ocho Coons. We ask that all of the parents and guests please remain seated and be patient with us. We will begin calling names once all the graduates are in place.
just literally,
So I'm handing you the card, and then are you going to hand it back to me the other side?
Oh, where's the other? It's just you? Okay.
It's just
I'll keep it here then.
okay.
Are you ready, ladies and gentlemen? Kirsten DiCaprio. Kate Bilizikian. Annabelle Finkel. Michelle Mason. Yamiles Bonilla. Talia Moore. Michael Brenner. Sarah Murphy. Khuanchivin Sompanya. Josefina Perez. Diamond Ward. Claire Rogers. Ana Sofia Remis. Isabella Marinho. Eliana Martin Diaz. Sofia Garcia. Eleanor Quiring. Sarah Fogel. John Sasner. Madeline Balitona. Jessica Williams. Rajin Dumbalia. Daria Harper. Kayla Ballard. Alexis Hurd. Racquel Samuel. Yumiko Wiranto. Rebecca Rodriguez. Sofia Castelli. Ryan Delgado. Joanna Acevedo. Eleanor Goodbody. Alex Schutte. Michelle Yuk. Lily Lieb. Lucius DiCarlo. Murray Sadabe. Mauricio Garcia Miro Terry. Chinwei Ellis. Dinah Asavia Williams. Gillian Chan. Lindsay Hoover. Thank you. Callie Quist. Lauren Mendoza. Hila Eden. Luis Moreshi. Alejandro Pumarejo. Callie O'Rourke. Claire Cohen. Yasmin Aram. Ailey Nicholson. Christina Goodwin. Julia Stitch. Claudia Messina. Emily Ruiz. Margaret Peak. Ivy Schneider. Sam Melrod. Jamie Corley. Orlando Mediola. Yasmin Yusuf. Maya Eid Owens. Tenny Adeola. Whoa. Quill Lemons. India Pfizer. Was that India? India Pfizer again. Take two. Elizabeth Goldsmith. Asia Simpson. Alyssa Chardy. Georgia Sobeski. Molly Mintz. Shayna Said. Yael Skolnick. Isabel Gwynn. Jasmine Lee. India Timpani. Juliet Munray. Callan Malone. Gia Giampino. Catherine Badala. Tong V. Deep. Jacqueline Greenfield. Mika Whiters Russell. Luca Dalla Chiesa. Parker Vaughn. Stuart Gorman. Elizabeth Smith. Charlotte Williams. Nicholas Marmore. Danielle Duemesi. Eric Garcia. Dana Tyson. Amber Shushani. Kai Russo. Emmy Barrett. Dalia Al-Hassan. Hunter Stewart. Ella Garrett. Milo Borsuk. Gracie Pearson. Kayla Sufer. Arnell Calderon. Tiffany Janison. Sonu Gurung. Mohammed Arham Ahmed. Gabriela Barahona. Marios Konstantinos Pavlakis. William Clark. Lily Cohen. Mirabelle Allen. Olivia Resto. Riley Kershaw. Daniela Avendano. Cameron Corey. Katrina Smith. Ariel Grossman. Hannah Hulsey. Daryl Pazer. Camilla Johnson. Megan Wardrop. Andrew Shoreba. Holly Erickson. Christina Marshall. Claire Bischoff. Emma Beidler. Alexandra Lyon. Alicia McPherson. Milagros Haddad. Chidera Okonkwo. Benjamin Burge. Alma Valdez Garcia. Lydia Tomasi. Avery Feldman. Nina Houghton. Carolyn Schaefer. Emma McLaughlin. Bart Peak? Okay. Bart Peak. Bart! Jumar Reed. You want the Ross? Okay. Jamie Ross Piper. Gabriela Sotomayor. Molly Suzuki. Esther Klingbeil. Christian Keene. Andrew Sokulski. Sabrina Wu. Malika Singh. Alisa Willenman. Fabiola Lopez Romani. Lucy Moulton. Okay. Tia Tony. Greifeld. Robert Greifeld. Paige Smucker. Samantha Kenny. Oh. You want Amanda? Okay. Armando Gabriel Chavez. Sholukwana Khan. Taylor Murch. Mateo Rascu.
Happy birthday, Mom!
Danielle Debule. Ari Pramono. Claire Patterson. Olivia Duncan. Emma Conlin. Judith Elster. Felicity Hicks. Get your diploma. Isoke Osage. Chloe Anderson. Kayla Rollards. Sim Confortes. Lars Inkel Ruiz. Rafael Barnes. Camila Acosta. Rupert McCraver. Alexander Henderson Neal. Ryan Loritz. Sofia Nicolella. Katie Nixdorf. Noreen Mullick. Ryan Hunt. Elizabeth White. Kira Faith Flynn. Monica Cerniglia. Elizabeth Van Langefeld. Gabriella Wagner. Mimi Darwich. Stella Sebra. Christine Rodriguez. Raquel Clark. Josephine Hill James. Isabella Olivo. Yudelka Espinal. Kelly Lai. Daniel Chu. Mia Payden. Sarah Little. Morgan Fryer. Angelica Kenworthy. Alexandra Antonio. Selena Delgado Schultz. Maya McHenry. Jasmine Lerner. Jeffrey Burton. Gabrielo Lisk. Roxy Rivard. Rose Lee. Kate Bowman. Keegan Brady. Trudy Hall. LaTroya Lovell. Danielle Gutierrez. Francesca Gambino. Jeffrey Boatwright. Andreina Himi. Natalia Del Rosario. Ana Carolina Dalmeida. Sarah Tulloch. Robert Griswold. Max Henry Moorhead. Benjamin Titera. Sebastian Labossiere. Christopher Goware. Samantha Schiller. Catherine Norton. Suzanne McGee. Justine Figueroa. Rose Delimarte. Prince Lang. Derek Xiang. Su Yun Lu. Jacob Galia. Amanda Miller. Emma Tucker. Claudia Long. Jennifer Almanzar. Fidel Flores Jr. Bridget Doyle. Marion Lynn. Lauren Diaz. Ali Hanna. Melly. Bennett Melly. Hallie Bolin. Mackenzie Leedy. Emma Lecter. Molly Cespedes. Paige Simonovich. Samuel Dworkin. Miranda Shank. Nadia Abuzar. Zoe Martin. Ricardo Sanchez. Zachary Williams. Liam Donaldson. Brendan Earl. George Clark. Iva DiMartelli. Thomas High. Brittany Lizotte. Kyla Baltazar. Gwendolyn Underwood. John Milne. Corey Anderson. Julia Arce. Alice Sueco Mueller. Carolyn Ramella. Fanny Cohen. Isaac Sulue Strosser. Jack Irving. Jack Sini. Dawid Johannes Kiflebayan. Isabella Plotnick. And last but certainly never least, Deandra Irisari. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give a round of applause for our future leaders, 2019 Eugene Lane College graduates.
Dear graduates, if you still have your hat, in a gesture to recognize all that you have accomplished here at Lang, and as we look to the future, and carry with us the thoughts, the insights we have gained from so many seminars and so many conversations and so much reading and working and moving, perhaps we captured a little bit of that seminar spirit in the words we heard from Sarah and Zishan about transformation and growth, about knowing your power and moving with purpose. Move the tassel from the left side of the cap to the right. Congratulations to the class of 2019. As we exit, we ask that parents and guests please remain seated while the faculty exit. Students and families, you can then exit the church and together join each other outside. Faculty, please rise, and we will exit with the music.